Xiaomi's Redmi Note 10 Pro stands tall among the best value for money phones when it comes to specifications. With its 120Hz Super Amoled display, a Snapdragon 732G processor and that 108MP camera, also not to forget its sleek design. But are these enough to make it your choice for the best mid-range phone released so far in 2021? We all know specs only tell one side of the story. What up guys, Izzy here and welcome to the channel. So I've had the Redmi Note 10 Pro for at least over 2 weeks now, and it's safe to say a detailed review is long overdue. Note that this is also the one they call the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max in India. For about $300, you get so much value, especially when it comes to the specifications and build quality. It costs a little less than the Samsung Galaxy A52 and it looks to have a few advantages specifications wise. You will definitely be seeing a comparison between these two, so why not hit that subscribe button and also hit the notification bell icon so you get notified as soon as that video goes live. Now, what makes this phone so special? Within the box of the Redmi Note 10 Pro, in typical Xiaomi fashion, you are going to get all accessories except earphones. There's a USB-A to USB-C cable, a 33W fast charging brick, and a protective casing which has a rare finish that is a little similar to the frost finish on the rear of the Redmi Note 10 Pro. It fits in quite well. There's also a screen protector already pre-installed on the device right from the box. The Redmi Note 10 Pro is a solidly built device with Gorilla Glass 5 on the display and the rear. The Glacier Blue is my favorite of the available color options. It has a somewhat frost finish which feels really nice and does a great job at fending off smudges. You have the Redmi branding towards the bottom left of the rear. Its quad rear cameras are positioned towards the top left in a classy looking camera bump. 2 steps actually, with the first step transparent and housing the flash. The main bump houses its quad cameras. You'll have a difficult time operating this one on a flat surface as it tilts to the sides and it rocks if you try to use it that way. The frame of the Redmi Note 10 Pro is a shiny glossy plastic on both the left and the right sides. Its fingerprint scanner is located on the right frame just underneath the volume keys and also doubles as its power button. It is nicely positioned, easy to reach, fast and accurate to unlock your device. The Redmi Note 10 Pro has a dual nano SIM slot on the left which supports micro SD card up to 1TB. The bottom and top frame has a matte finish. The bottom is actually flat, much so it can stand on a flat surface without support. It has stereo speakers with one up top and the other at the bottom. It is pretty loud and produces really good quality sound. The headphone jack on the Redmi Note 10 Pro is located at the top where we also have its signature IR blaster. The design on the Redmi Note 10 Pro speaks premium and it's a significant improvement over what we had on the Redmi Note 9 Pro. It is convenient for handling with its curved rear edges and it's also lightweight, and that frost finish is sure to leave an impression. It isn't completely water resistant but it is IP53 certified, so it should survive dust, splashes and accidental submersion. With the Note 10 Pro, Xiaomi has adopted a Super Amoled display which is a much welcome improvement. It is a display made by Samsung, so you should already know what to expect when it comes to the display quality. It can get really bright with up to 1200 nits of peak brightness. It has HDR10 support and a resolution of 1080 by 2400. With a high refresh rate of 120Hz, the user experience here is certainly one to love. At this price point for devices released so far this year, this is probably the only one with 120Hz, and I think the Poco X3 Pro. Really cool stuff. Now, the 120Hz here is a good experience, but it's a little below my expectations as it is not the best 120Hz experience I've had. Don't get me wrong though, it is great and commendable at this price point, but the experience isn't just as good as what we had on the Poco F3, and that is understandable. The Poco F3 has a flagship processor. The Redmi Note 10 Pro runs Android 11 and MIUI 12 right out of the box. MIUI 12 is an interesting user interface with a lot of customizations, not to forget its tons of bloatware applications and subtle system ads. It's a compromise we're willing to accept as long as we continue to get this great build and specifications at really affordable price point. One thing I noticed with the UI is some inconsistency in the display of text message notifications. You can see the bottom text not properly aligned and too close to the left edge. It looks out of place. This is not an issue and should be fixed with a software update, but I just could not ignore it. The Redmi Note 10 Pro comes with a base 6GB of RAM and 64GB of UFS 2.2 storage. You can get it up to 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. My unit is a 6GB 128GB combo, which retails for about $300. That is 125,000 naira. With the 8nm Snapdragon 732G processor, switching between apps and multitasking here is a breeze. The Snapdragon 732G gets really high benchmark scores on Antutu and Geekbench, and it can be considered a minor upgrade over the Snapdragon 720G that was on the Redmi Note 9 Pro. It is actually not very different performance-wise, but you can call it a more updated version of the 720G. Speaking of processor performance, the Snapdragon 732G is accompanied by the Adreno 618 GPU, which is expected to give you decent gaming experience. While that is certain, I feel it still needs some optimization, which should hopefully be fixed by software. From my experience gaming on the Redmi Note 10 Pro, while it runs most games fine for the most part, barely 10 minutes into gaming on this device, it starts to get noticeably hot, and that can be inconvenient. With that said, the Redmi Note 10 Pro is able to run games like Genshin Impact on the default low settings and comfortably at 30 FPS. Might push it further in a gaming review. On the likes of Call of Duty Mobile, you can play it at high graphics settings and max frame rates. With the stereo speakers to complement, you can expect great sound while you play your favorite games. The battery on the Redmi Note 10 Pro is an impressive 5020 mAh, which is optimized pretty well to last you a whole day on a full charge, even if you have it set to 120Hz. You can switch to 60Hz to get even more impressive battery life. It supports 33 watts fast charging and it can power up pretty fast. You can get 55% charge in 30 minutes and 100% charge in about 57 minutes. The cameras of the Redmi Note 10 Pro has a lot going on, much so that it might need a dedicated video to fully cover it. The selfie camera is a 16MP sensor placed in a center hole punch cutout on the display. The rear is a quad camera combination of a 108MP main camera, an 8MP ultra wide, a 5MP macro and a 2MP depth sensor. To a good extent, the main camera is pretty impressive with really good autofocus, as you can see from this clip. You are also graced with a ton of camera modes, and I find the vlog mode quite interesting. It allows you to record a couple of clips and it merges them together with cool transitions to give you something like this. Its rear cameras do well to take good photos with great dynamic range. If you have the subject close enough, you are able to get good depth of field without using portrait mode. Its 108MP mode allows you to take photos in super high resolution that you can crop and still get great detail. On the device itself, to view photos snapped in high resolution, you can double tap and it's going to show you a preview of the full resolution photo. Ultra wide shot looks good and it doesn't seem to compromise on the color and quality when compared with the regular shot. Its 5MP macro camera gives you a good chance at macro photography, and I'd say the shots look good. As it is common with Xiaomi devices, while photos from the selfie camera looks good, there is still some smoothing of images and it loses some details. This is not my favorite kind of processing. Still speaking of camera modes, you can also use long exposure modes to get shots like this. Night mode photography on the Redmi Note 10 Pro is decent, not amazing, but I think good enough. The Redmi Note 10 Pro is able to shoot videos from its rear cameras up to 4K 30fps. It has no optical image stabilization, but I think its software stabilization is pretty solid. Okay, testing 1, 2, mic test and selfie camera test of the Xiaomi Redmi Note 10 Pro by the roadside. Selfie camera test of the Xiaomi Redmi Note 10 Pro, not bad for a selfie camera of a mid-range device, 16MP. Sadly, it cannot do 4K 30, it can only do 1080p 60 its selfie cameras. On the rear cameras, however, it can do 4K 30fps. What do you think about the picture and the microphone quality and the video quality? The Redmi Note 10 Pro is certainly among the best value for money phones so far in 2021. Using it over the past 2 weeks have been mostly good experience. The heating issue that occurs during gaming can hopefully be fixed with a software update. Aside that, everything else has been pretty smooth, from handling to design to overall user experience. While the Snapdragon 732G is not a significant upgrade over the 720G, the device in its entirety is a major upgrade over the Note 9 Pro, especially with that 120Hz HDR10 Super Amoled display amongst other notable features. That is the Redmi Note 10 Pro. You can do me a favor by giving this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful, or a thumbs down if you don't. Also, a sub to the channel will be greatly appreciated. See you in the next one. Peace.